Well, they sent me the script and it was really funny. And so I thought it would be a fun thing to do. You know, it's like playing a classic part.
Right.
An undiscovered classic. It's good. It was great. Great fun. Great people in it. My nephews will love it. It's all good. Igor is one of many servants. There's a lot of Igors and a lot of evil scientists in this world that the film creates. So he's an Igor looking to become an evil scientist, trying to climb the ladder. It seems fantastic. Like you can definitely tell that there's a bunch of great European animators in there. You know, it's intricate and kind of abstract and very, very different. I guess it's a little bit like some of the classic stuff you've seen in America, but it's definitely has its own feel to it. I think when you see these things done well, that people are entertained and exhilarated and just feel like they got transported to a magical world. And the humor is fun for, you know, kids, but it's not kind of so childish that the adults can't have fun. So usually if it has that sort of great fantasy appeal where you know, real smart 12-year-old and an adult are all loving the same stuff.
What drew me to this role? Well, first, initially, of course, Tony, the director. He's a friend of mine, and I just think he's so talented. And so the opportunity to work with a close friend is always so appealing because it doesn't seem like work. It just seems like you're hanging out with your friend and talking, and then work is, you know, this just part of hanging out. That makes the experience really special. So, and then secondly, the part was just so great. The fact that she's like a monster that was programmed the wrong way and then really wants to be an actress was just so sweet and, you know, right up my alley. Voicing an animated character is not something I thought about. I think because I'm physical and I use my hands a lot, I find it hard because it's so reliant on your voice that it's hard for me to just it's hard to do that. I don't think it comes so naturally to me, but now since I've done it a little more, I feel like I really enjoy it, and it's fun to not worry about what you look like and just come in that way. It's very freeing because you could come like in your pajamas or, you know, just really casually, and it's fun. It feels very laid back. Well, one thing I love, and also the way Tony works is, and not everybody does this, but what I love about animation is that you could do the line over and over and over again and just, I mean, you can do that in live action too, but I think with animation it's even easier because you don't have to worry about the lighting or moving out of the light or this or that. It's just your voice, so you can kind of do it over and over till you feel it and do it in different ways, and there's a real freedom in that. It feels just like you could, you know, leave it open and do different versions so you kind of get it. I love that. And what I really like about this is it looks so different than most of the typical movies that are out there. And I think that makes it really unique. It's just, to me, a very fresh-looking animated movie. Original.
You know, I read the script, and immediately it was one of those kind of fresh voice kind of scripts, and it was edgy and dark, unlike most animated, you know, comedy kids movies that are out there now. So it was kind of cool that it was it was a Tim Burton-esque, but it was a little more lighter than that. But I love the style and the tone of the script, and I thought it was really funny. Well, I always have, when looking at roles, and animated or not, I always try to find what's funny about it, and I kind of connected to the stupidity of the character Brain. And not so much stupidity as the innocence and like the naivete. But I love those characters because I love characters who are filled with kind of false bravado and then try to cover for it. I love that. When you're standing in a booth alone with the headphones on, it's just so dark. It gets so dark, and it's dark, and there's nothing to play off of except your own reflection, and it's just weird. It's bizarre, and so you never know what it's going to sound like back until you see the whole thing together. Well, what's great about this process for me is the tennis match back and forth kind of between me and the director and the writer, Chris and Tony, and coming up with better lines, or just playing, like just having a good time, coming up with a better joke or whatever. Yes, I think it is definitely more difficult to project humor through just your voice and not your body. I'm so used to using my body to indicate, even with a look or just like a gesture. But when you only have your voice, you have to constantly ask the director. Now they're going to do my eye like that, right? Because I meant when I said that, I wanted my eye to go up. You know, so it's a weird thing. But yes, it's much more difficult to voice comedy than to act comedy.
Well, I'm the evil king. That's pretty much it. I don't know why I was chosen as the evil king. Obviously, they saw something in me they felt was evil and asked me to do the part. You don't have to dress up. You don't have to comb your hair. And, you know, I've done a few acting things, but I'm actually more comfortable kind of stretching my voice. And because maybe it's because I'm from New England and I'm half Scotch. I'm too self-conscious to really act. But when you're doing the voice, you can get much more into the character, at least for me. It's maybe a little bit of both, I guess. Obviously, you're in a sound booth, and there's no audience. All you get is, yeah, that was hilarious. Good. That was really funny. Okay, let's try it again. You know, as opposed to a hilarious audience laugh, you just get the guy going, yeah, that was hilarious. Good. Good, try it again. So you never really know. Oh yeah, I love doing this. I really like doing animated a lot. It's a lot of fun, and because kids come up to you and they're surprised. You know, a lot of times I'll be in a store or something. If you've done an animated, you go, "Hey, little boy," and they go, "Wait, I know that voice." And then they kind of trying to figure out who. I do a cartoon called The Crimson Chin. So whenever I see little kids, I'll go, "Hey, kids, how you doing?" And they kind of look at you for a minute. You don't look like the cartoon, but you kind of do. So that's kind of fun. I think that a film like this, you know, and when I look at the way the cartoons are drawn and the costumes on the characters and everything else, it's so elaborate and so well detailed that I think you really just fall right into the fantasy world, you know. I mean, it's adult enough so adults can be entertained and follow it, and the adult stuff kind of goes over the kids' heads. And between the stylistic nature of it and, you know, just the personality and the expressions drawn into the characters, I think adults will like it a lot.
I play Carl Kristall, which is already popular among the hip-hop community. Movie's not even out yet, but anything with the word Kristall in it works at Jay-Z's house. Doing animated films allows you to step out of the reality of life in America and just go somewhere else, and then later take your audience somewhere else, you know? Where else could a guy from Cleveland be an invisible man named Carl Kristall? When people ask me what drew me to Igor, I want to come up with some unique answer that everybody will find interesting, but I simply have to say I have an 8-year-old. And I said the word Igor on the phone, and he said, what? And I knew then I was taking the gig, you know? I do a lot of things because I know they'll amuse my son and make him happy. Animation is as perfect as a job can get. You get to be in show business, you get to have that cheddar, but you also get to have anonymity. And if I could do it all over again, I'd only do animation.
Seeing the final product at the end and seeing all of the creative work that goes into it and the teamwork that it takes and the ability to put things like this together, I think, is phenomenal, and I'm greatly impressed. Well, I think, yeah, once you become a father, well, you end up watching a lot of animated films. I've been, I'm up to date now, and now my kids are a little bit older, but yeah, I've been watching animated films for years and years and years, and I've always enjoyed them, always liked them, but having kids and being able to do a movie that you can take your kids to, of course, is a great thrill, and they have a really good time with this stuff. Well, it is an interesting process as far as creative freedom. Like doing today's session was incredibly helpful. Having a basic idea of what it's going to look like up on the screen is phenomenally helpful to have that kind of information. But coming into something like this, and Igor is such a classic character, and he's been portrayed in so many different ways, and he has such a unique and distinct voice, actually. So it's just tricky. I've never really done an Igor voice, so I found that to be greatly challenging and a very, very unique experience.
Igor is a movie that takes place in a country called Malaria. And in Malaria, they've made their economy evil inventions. So basically, evil scientists create all these horrible inventions, and then they blackmail the world with it. And basically they think, oh, so that's a good thing. So in this world, evil is good. Our Igor was born with a hunch on his back, which leaves him no choice but to become an Igor. So he has to become basically a slave to a mad scientist. Even though he's a real scientist himself, he's not allowed to invent anything. Something happens to the scientist that he works for, and Igor actually gets to create his most incredible invention ever. A horrible, hideous monster that is sure to scare the whole world. But unfortunately, when he builds this monster, he discovers the monster doesn't want to be a vicious, evil creature. She wants to be an actress. What's different about our retelling of the Frankenstein story, which hasn't been done before, is that our monster actually changes the world around her. So really what this story is about is that if you have weapons of power, they should be used to create a world of love, not fear. That's really what our story is about. And that there comes a time in everyone's life where they have to stand up straight for what they believe in, even if they have a hunch on their back. So that's what Igor's challenge is. He has to go against what the world believes in and stand up for what's right. And our Igor does it with the help of this monster that he created. John Cusack is such a great actor, and he can do so much with his voice, so many little nuances that we really want the animators to pick up on, so we film him, and we really want the animators to rely on the actors, because I feel like it brings a really fresh take to animation when we use the actors in that way.